Why do I seem so zoomed in?
As long as you're centered, it's fine. I found that out last week when Ron Mexico was off here to the left, and then I'm like, oh, I changed the view and he was fine. But then when I went to go edit, like all his things were kind of like.
Okay, that was him. Just here is being cut off a little.
Yeah, you sent me that the one with the picture of you with the Burger King hat, and I was like, oh, there's a theme right there. So I was like, have it your way.
Oh, perfect. You sure you didn't want me to be the naughty nurse? That wasn't what you were
No,
going for?
no, 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 no. That is maybe if you were on Blizzlet.
Okay, maybe.
That's the patron special.
No, no, we want to keep our patrons.
Whoa. It would just draw more in when they finally got such amazing additional content.
All right. So I heard a cat. I hear a cat.
Yep. There's probably going to be a lot of that tonight with me being gone for 3 days.
Oh, that's right. You were out for a while, right?
Yes.
Right, that should be. Why does this keep saying that?
Oh, cat's coming right into the camera.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's set. Now we get the YouTube set. Live. We are live.
I was gonna say
Ooh,
I actually got a YouTube pop up. I don't know why, but I did.
What do you mean? What do you mean you got a YouTube pop up just now that we're live?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. YouTube likes to push random notifications. Apparently. That was one I decided to do. There's bread and butter.
There's a lot of Terry Tsangs out there.
There are.
Hi.
According to AI, I'm the CEO of Madhead, some Chinese billionaire that owns like a software company.
Congratulations. How are your dividends?
Oh, they're great. Cashing them out soon. Go pump and dump it. So if you want in, now's the time to get in.
Pump and dump.
I mean, that's the new way, right? That's it.
That's the new way for me to block you as soon as we can.
Not the first time I've been blocked. It's fine.
Is this episode 156 or 157? It's 156, right?
156. Oh,
all right.
I didn't update it in the title of the.
Oh, that's fine.
Thing. That's why. There we go. I got the number in the show notes, just not in the show note title.
Oh, trust me, I do that. I used to do that all the time. In fact, there would be times where it'd be like episode like 75, but it'd be like copy of episode 70.
I tried to do that first because I've forgotten so many times. But I was trying to prevent myself from taking a nap that would have been way too late.
I took a way too late nap. I slept from like 4 until 7. It was beautiful.
Oh, at 7 o'clock, I was struggling.
Oh, that just means you need a coffee.
No, so you can't sleep later on after the show. I already had too much of that today.
All right. I think we are good everywhere. Double check.
I like the Charlie Brown bed sheets.
Thank you. It's a blanket. It's the this Christmas one.
Okay. I didn't realize Tito was like a 12-year-old boy.
It was I was cold and I'm like, I need another blanket, so I went to Home Goods and that one was like $15. I was like, perfect. Plus, I like Charlie Brown, so there we go. All right. Are you guys ready to talk some Hearthstone?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Hearthstone adjacent, right? But it's fine.
Battlegrounds is in the client.
So
It's
is
the best
Twist.
part of the game.
Well, that's fair.
Imagine
All
actually
right.
wanting
That's
to
a
play
bad argument on my part.
All right. All right, here we go. That's loud. Welcome back to Bread and Butter, where we're serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement. This is episode 156, and as always, I'm joined by Pilot. Pilot, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and we have a wonderful returning guest on today, Terry Tsang. Terry, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. You've been pretty busy since the last time we had you on. You got like a podcast, you got a partner. What's going on with all the stuff you've been doing lately?
Yeah, I decided to do a podcast with a few other streamer friends of mine. We kind of underthought that the older gamer is a little underrepresented in the podcast and just gaming, talking space in general. I mean, this is not probably news to you guys, but like all the podcasts and everyone in general in like the gaming space is very, very young. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a very different perspective. So myself, Howard Moon, Obo Hobo, and Ms. Bowers made up a podcast, and we are like 30 episodes in. It's kind of a grind. The views are not very good, but it's a lot of fun just hanging out and bullshitting with them for like an hour or so every week. Talk about all sorts of gaming topics and like streaming topics and stuff. And yeah, I also got Twitch partner during the summer, which was quite nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it for that stuff.
You're muted, Tito.
You're muted.
So I understand you came on the podcast here. You were like, "Hey, this was fun. I should do it myself." And you're like, "Wow, that's a lot of work," but you stuck with it. I also noticed that you are all over my TikTok, so you've been putting the work on there too.
Yeah, I've been definitely putting out a lot of shorts. It seems like shorts are like the way to go. So we've been pumping out like 9 to 10 shorts a week from our podcast just to like get the word out. We've had a few go relatively viral. Like we had an Instagram one hit like 50 something thousand views, and we had
Oh, wow.
like I think our highest TikTok is only like 6K or something, but it's it's a long process and we'll slowly get there, hopefully.
Oh, well, you're doing awesome on TikTok. That's been like I've been doing much better on YouTube. TikTok has been a mystery to me, but yeah, we'll figure it out. So, what have you been doing inside of Hearthstone?
I mean, ladder doesn't mean much, but just a lot of ladder. Like, just been playing a ton of games. Like, nothing unusual there. I'm pretty sure I have the most hours played in Hearthstone and Battlegrounds than anyone. I'm trying to get confirmation from the people inside Blizzard, but I'm pretty sure there's no one that has the number of hours played that I do. I mean, I could check what that is and let you know back in a few minutes, but it's like some absurd number.
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't come close to my WoW played time, but I'm sure it's still pretty high.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very high. Like everyone's like, when they hear the number, it's like ridiculous. It's like 60,000 hours or something. I don't think like there's anyone even remotely close to the numbers I put up. Like, yeah, it's like all my top heroes are like over 1,000 wins for like the top 5 listed there. So it's definitely like when I stop playing, you see like the Battleground servers numbers just drop.
All right, well, Pilot, what have you been up to inside the game?
I made a late push last week in standard just to try to cement 11x. I had been fiddling around with a couple decks and then didn't have much time to play before I was out of town, so I wanted something easier to play on mobile. So I grabbed the triple unholy death knight again and got up to 500. So kind of hung out there, got 11x for the first time in quite a few months. Finished at 560, so really happy with that and hoping to maintain that. I think I mentioned that when we talked about goals for the year, just trying to maintain that area and standard a little bit more with my play. Unfortunately, it didn't translate to Conquest. I lost my Coin Concede Listener Series match. I couldn't find a third deck that I felt like playing. especially since I couldn't test very much. So I brought Discover Hunter. Wasn't the best choice into what they brought, and definitely didn't play it as well as I wanted. But I did win the game with the triple unholy in like 16 turns, and with an empty deck, it was ridiculous how long I was able to stay in that game. They healed for like 60 total health that game. It was stupid, but pulled it out.
Very nice. I've also been so I did the opposite of you this month. I went to I tried to see how far down the rabbit hole I could go in the ladder. I was trying to see if you could do bad enough where you would go back to diamond. Luckily, you can't. But no, actually, so I just decided that for the end of January, I was going to try to play newer decks or different decks and try to innovate and whatnot. And I wasn't going to worry about my rank. And I did better than I usually do because I did get tilted a couple times and I did like switch back to some decks. But for the most part, I did kind of stick with my plan. Pilot had sent me a Burn Warrior list, which wasn't good, but it was fun. And I actually think I made some modifications that have made it better. So I've been playing that, and that's been fairly successful. In fact, I feel like it's more consistent, and I played it some today. I'm winning with it, so we'll see how that goes. My plan for February is to climb however I climb. I don't care how I climb as long as I climb. And then once I hit legend, I will try to probably play new decks or better decks or good decks or whatever. But if I want to really get strange or weird, I'll go to EU or Asia and do them there because that doesn't matter. And I'm gonna see if I can. I it's going to be easy to improve upon my rank this month. I made it so that way the bar is so low that I'm going to be able to step over it backwards doing backflips. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try. But so I've been playing the Burn Mage. I've been playing the Triple Unholy DK. I actually played against in the Coin Constellation series this week. I played against Patron Joltik, who was on vacation, and they had to play me at night after the kids went to bed wherever they are. And we played Saturday. Was it last night? Last night, and I won 2-0. And it was fun because I played that Burn Warrior, and it wasn't how the deck was built. I had to just kind of survive against the cycle rogue and eat as much of the asteroids and whatnot I can. And I came nowhere near to the plan, but it was a good example of hey, sometimes you have to make an adjustment on how you play the deck. And if you realize that your win condition is not going to get you there, you need to figure out something else. So that was a lot of fun. Terry, what have you been doing outside of the game?
Actually, just been doing a lot of cleaning. Lunar New Year is coming up soon, and we're supposed to have the house spotless. And me and the family have been doing a lot of cleaning. I almost set my house on fire last weekend. We went to go install a new smart thermostat, and I guess I put the wires in wrong because it sparked up. I was like, it blew the fuse again. I'm like, oh shit, that thermostat is totally dead. Luckily, it was a 3-pack, but but yeah, I was a little scared. Wife was like, "What the hell just happened?" I was like, "It's fine. I'm only bleeding a little." But yeah, Super Bowl coming up next week. Get to cheer for the Seahawks. I know Tito's probably a Patriots fan because he's from that area, but we'll get to watch the Seahawks beat them. Hopefully, this in a week. Get to expose Drake May a little. That's pretty much about it for me. Just a lot of cleaning and trying to get rid of a lot of junk in the house. My wife's a bit of a hoarder, so like I had to find a good excuse to get her to actually allow me to throw stuff out. And I thought Chinese New Year is like the best way for possible for me to get her to throw stuff out. I'm like, we have to get stuff clean for the New Year's. We have to clean stuff. She's like, fine. I go, don't make me tell your mom. She's like, fine, we'll throw some stuff out. I'll let you sell some stuff. I'm like, yes. It's like I accomplished a little bit.
Very nice. How about yourself, Pilot? You had some exciting news about bowling, I believe.
Yeah, so for that, our state music conference was this week, so was there for 3 days. Fantastic as always. We have one of the best like state music ed conferences in the country. Always a ton of stuff. Always great to catch up with friends that's kind of the only time that I see them during the year because they work far enough away, and people that I've met. So that's great time and always a great recharge kind of halfway through the year of yeah, I want to keep doing this and teaching through the lull of winter. Granted, I only worked like 5 hours last week total because of all the snow and weather and whatnot. So this tomorrow will be a little rough. It's fine. And then also had a chance to. I have one of my best friends from high school lives close to where the conference was, so got to visit with her and get a late lunch and catch up because I haven't seen her in person for a couple of years, and always great to catch up. Then our local area has like our association's city bowling tournament this weekend and next weekend. Finally got all of our stuff pieced together. I for sure had a singles and doubles time slot, but team kept mixing and matching who was going to go where and got all that sorted out. Wasn't sure how I was going to bowl because I was tired after the conference, and I bowled the best that I have. I averaged a 234 for 6 games. Had a couple games where I took a good run. I had a 277 in there. I don't have my sheet here. Yeah, a 277, and then kind of forgot how to pick up spares for the rest of the double series, and then finally got my first 700 for a 3-game series in the singles to take currently the lead there. So really, really happy. I'm hoping that means I'm piecing things together. Couple spots I need to fix. I missed some really easy spares. I think I had 5 single pin spares that I missed that were just stupid, and left like 50 pins out there. So I could have had an absolute monster day, but really, really happy there. My knee, not so much after 6 games of bowling and 3 days of conference. My knee is not going to be happy tomorrow, but I am.
Nice. And you also you also got a bowl Tuesday and Wednesday, so make sure you ice that thing down or take some ibuprofen or something.
Yeah, I'll be in better shape than my doubles partner because we bowled the 6 games today. Then he has leagues the next 4 days, is bowling team event on Friday, and then we're bowling another team event on Sunday. So
Wow.
we'll see if he's still upright after next weekend.
Fair. And for me, I'm ready for winter to be done. It's been too cold up in New England. I do not like it.
It's been so
As far
cold.
as far as the Patriots go, obviously rooting for the Patriots. I don't have a whole lot of. I'm not on the Drake May train. I'm sorry, Drake May train. Like he's fine. Like I haven't really been watching a ton this year. I'm sure he's fine, but I know that the conference schedule was weak, and I know they kind of like found their way through the playoffs. So we'll see. He's a young kid. He'll grow up. Tom Brady was the same way in his second year. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It should be interesting. And when the Patriots win their what like billionth. They've now been in after this week 20% of all Super Bowls. That in itself is an accomplishment. So good for them. Um, and how the Jets been? Never mind. Sorry. So
Rude.
yeah, a little bit rude, but fair. So I
Yeah.
have been mostly working on making content and trying to figure out the whole YouTube thing, like we're talking about. I actually had a good video that did pretty well, long form. So we're gonna try to dive into that and keep going at. So that's been a lot of fun. Outside of that, not much. Just trying to stay warm. I can't hear out of my right ear. So at one point we did accidentally, a couple times, videos have gone up where it's only out of the left on the left side of things, and there's been an issue with uh, the system that we have, and it's doing stereo and mono or whatever like that. So now I have to double check and maybe switch my headphones around because I'm not even going to be able to tell because I can't hear out of this ear right now. And I went to the doctor and they're just like, oh, it's you probably have fluid on the inside and like we don't want to actually make a hole in that, so just take some Sudafed for a while and or something. So we'll figure that out and hopefully in a couple weeks it'll feel better. But Pilot, do we have any news this week?
We do have some news. So we had a patch early last week. That sounds right. 32 point or 34.4.2 for on the standard and constructed side. We only got one card change. They buffed Morchi from a 2/5 to a 3/6, just to make her a little bit stickier if you're just trying to tempo her. But we did get a more in-depth dev comment saying we're pleased to see the meta in a solid spot. Your deck building with the mini set has sparked fresh archetypes like Imbue Rogue and Broxigar Demon Hunter, and breathed new life into several existing decks, like we kind of talked about the past couple weeks. Looking ahead, there are two major patches on the horizon. One featuring widespread balance changes, and the other bringing our annual core set rotation and core set update. We expect some big meta shakeups with these patches, so we keep this update intentionally small. Morcha received a light buff to make her a more appealing option. We've heard your feedback about Elise the Navigator, and she will be getting adjustments. Because she plays such a big role in the meta, we're planning her update as part of those larger, more impactful patches. We appreciate your patience as we chart a new course for the famed Explorer. Tito, I know we chatted a little bit when we got this update. So thoughts on this?
Well, I believe I will say I was right, because we had a whole I don't know if it was on the show or not. I think it was, but I could be wrong. I believe I had said that I think that they're not going to touch Elise this patch, because there are so many decks right now that kind of rely on her, and I think that they just want to get us to the 9th where we get news, because as we said last week, there's a big announcement on the 9th. Speculation is that it's going to be either the announcement of the expansion or something. So I think they just want to get us to that point where we're hyped about the new expansion. We're talking about new cards, and the meta really doesn't matter, because we're just trying to get our way to the Franken meta and then all over to the new whatever. So I was right. They weren't going to touch it right now because it just means so much. Again, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to see Elise, changed or modified. I want to see less Elise, but at the same point, it's fine. We're almost there. The end is in sight. We can see rotation. Soon there'll be no Ziliac. Soon there'll be no Ice Guy. Soon there'll be no Protoss. Soon there'll be lots of new things, and Elise will still be here. But hopefully they make her. I want to see them tweak her in a way that she's still an option for some decks, and you want to still play her because she's a cool card. I just don't want to see the same pattern in every single deck you play against, and I'm hoping that that's what happens. Terry, you don't play a lot of standard at all, right?
I play zero standard. I probably haven't played standard in like 3 or 4 years. So I would be the worst. It's actually interesting hearing a patch update from standard players, because normally I just hear the Battlegrounds side. And if you've been following Battlegrounds history or Hearthstone history, it's always like a major standard patch and then a major Battlegrounds patch. And literally every time one happens, the other side's always complaining that there is no change at all for their side. So like we see a huge Battlegrounds patch, and then I assume the standard people are like, why can't they fix our game? Where's ours? And then there's a huge standard patch, and like, we have so many problems in Battlegrounds. When are they fixing ours? So it's good to hear like from both sides of the perspective. I try to calm people down or players down in my chat that are like, I can't believe a whole patch came and nothing changed to Battlegrounds. I'm just like, it alternates. The team can only work on so much at a time, right? So it's good hearing the other side of things.
I play a lot of Battlegrounds, or not a lot, but I do play in fact, I played a bunch this week, just to kind of like between things. And Pilot and I play duos almost every night when I stream, unless it's kind of like new expansions or whatnot. And I will tell you that every time the Battleground patch notes come out on like we had this one, I don't look at them because I'm not going to remember any of that. I just kind of like wing it, and we'll say like, oh, this guy changed armor, or this card's here, or this card's not there. I don't care. It's just like you go in there, what do they offer you? You play the game and you move on. I cannot follow anything about the Battlegrounds. There's too much, because even standard, when we have a big patch, there's like 14 cards that have changed or something like that. And yeah, there's a lot to go through. When Battlegrounds changes, it's like, yeah, hey, we've made 37 adjustments to heroes. We've made 110 updates to cards. I don't know how they keep up with it. I don't know how you keep up with it. And I don't know how. I don't get it, but it's fine. I'm glad that they stay up on it and give you guys updates and whatnot.
I mean, like in regards to the Pilot. In
No,
regards to the cards and the heroes, like most of the time the changes are minimal. We don't really pay much attention. Like, this hero gained 4 more armor, this hero lost 2 armor. Like that stuff you'll just see in the game. You just look at the we just mainly look at the cards that were like a major problem going in and seeing what they did to address it. And those are the changes that we kind of pay more attention to than the little details along like armor changes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I do want to get to the BG's changes here, especially since that's our focus, anyways. But as far as like standard goes, I'm as much as I was surprised that we didn't get much change this patch. I'm glad that they explained that in the dev note, in the dev comment, because we know that we've got pretty much have two large patches left before the new set, because they very rarely do anything between the 0.6 and the 0.0 unless there's a major thing that they need to do, just because they're working so much on the new stuff and they don't want to throw too much into chaos. And especially at this point, since we have Franken meta coming up anyways the last week, like it's just those 3 weeks are kind of just locked in. And I think I like that the fact that they're like, okay, I'm assuming that our big shakeup is coming with the 0.6 pre-release or pre-order patch for the new set, and that's where we're getting all these changes. If that's where they're going to do a lease with a bunch of other stuff, I'm fine with that. I was on the opposite side of Tito of saying, yeah, I get that it's 65%, but we have this pile of 5 or 6 cards that are just slopped in any deck and making everything the same from game to game. And if that's strong enough to be in 65% of decks, then change something so that we're incentivized to do something different. So at least it seems like we're not having to wait too long for that. I do think Morty to 6 is actually impactful because 6 health on 4 is a lot. That's a lot to deal with. So especially if another card that we see a ton of with Blob of Tar gets any changes, that's kind of the way to take care of it with poison. I could see that being a much stronger tempo play now.
I almost guarantee they're gonna do something with Blobatar, because that is such a killer for like any kind of aggro deck and all that. And I think that they want to not have that be the primary thing that's stopping new cards from being fun and interesting and exciting. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made some kind of adjustment to Blobatar as well.
Yeah. I was gonna say something else. I forget what it was now. Well, long gone. Yeah. Excuse me. Did get a couple arena updates as well. Great Jacorix can no longer be generated. That seems fair. A 5-mana AoE on a large stick seems like not something you want to see more than one of. A couple of the arena only cards got nerfed: Stasis Dragon and Infinite Wolf. Infinite Wolf is still banned from drafts for now, so I'm guessing you can generate it, but they're not letting you draft it because that was very powerful. And then Battlegrounds had a lot of minion changes. First, dialing back death rattles, which definitely feels like this is the most death rattle heavy meta that we had for a while. Is a lot of death rattles. So adjusted some of those, including McCall, Twilight Brood Mother, Apexis Guardian, and Carapace Razor, to bring those back down. And then also they adjusted a bunch of the Time Warped Tavern cards, especially ones with low pick rates, to either buff them, or they changed the cost of some of them from 2 to 1 and vice versa. So did a few things here to kind of also kind of hold over for a couple weeks, because normally the 0.6 patch is the big mid-season update for BGs. So we should be getting a big change here in 2 weeks there as well. So Terry, what have you noticed as the biggest changes with the new updates?
Biggest changes in this patch. Apexis came back. It was overly powerful prior, mainly because of the time warp cards. It's pretty much nerfed to the ground. It's absolutely terrible card now, which is kind of unfortunate. They changed it from magnetizing from 2 volumizers to 1, and pretty massive change. They gave it rally as well, but the rally doesn't do very much. A bunch of minor stat changes for stuff like pirates. The big changes also the Quillbore Blood Snout Warlord got changed to giving 3 blood gems when a minion rallies, as opposed to 2, which is a huge change. Like it's a much better card now. And Carapace being moved to tier 5 is a huge change. Like it forced the undead massive attack summon build to be like much harder to put together, because before you kind of just like sit on 4 and easily triple the Carapace Razor. And it makes it much more difficult now that's on 5. Like you have to go to 5 a lot earlier. It's much harder just to get the pieces because there's less copies in the pool. So that's like a massive change. They also took out the tier 7 Demolition Demolisher, I think is what's called. The mech that whenever you it doubled all your magnetizes.
Double magnetize. I was trying to figure out what that card was when I saw the name of it. I'm like, I have never seen this card in my life.
Yeah, it's the tier 7 one that double magnetizes. I mean, you definitely saw it on your opponent's board.
Yes,
when they have like thousand minions on their board. But yeah, they changed it to Beatboxer. I mean, Beatboxer is still okay, but definitely not as broken as the Demolisher was. Demolisher was just way too good. And they just did like a bunch of stat changes. Like the other changes relatively inconsequential. Like they made Quillbores a lot better. Quillbores were unplayable going into this patch, but this patch made Quillbores actually good again. Undead got a little nerfed. Undead is still fine. They're still probably just an overall strong tribe. Pirates are still absolutely terrible. Nagas are still like okay, but they got better because the other tribes got weaker. And mechs are pretty bad. And not much else changed about the other tribes. All the other tribes are pretty much status quo. But yeah, those are the ones majorly affected. Quillbore's big jump up, probably one of the top few tribes. And mechs just got like nerfed to the ground. Yeah, stuff like Elementals got like a minor change with Acid Rainfall getting changed to 5 Rift Flushes instead of 4. It affects your scaling quite a bit. Yeah, most of the other stuff not that big of a deal. Like Twilight Broodmother, which was a very key for like the Dragon Death Rattle build, got moved to tier 5, but you didn't really need like a lot of them. Like 1 or 2 of them is usually enough. You didn't need to like golden it for it to be very powerful. That got changed, but like I said, it's not like that major of a change as like the Carapace changed to 5, where it's like the key to you be able to actually win a game. This one is just like a nice to have. You just get 1 later in the game, and it's still fine. I mean, Battlegrounds is in right now. The meta is actually in a pretty safe space. It's relatively okay, but I mean, the problem with Battlegrounds, more specifically, like outside of the actual gameplay, is like ladder is so inconsequential. I mean, did you realize? I'm sure you guys don't have no idea about this, but there was like a major Battleground tournament over the weekend, which crowned like a quote unquote world champion of Battlegrounds that was hosted by China, and they had like a bunch of events leading up to it, also hosted by like Hearthstone China or a bunch of people on the Huya site, and I've seen nothing on it on social media, like absolutely zero. Like if you're not in the stream of one of the people that are participating, because essentially China invited a bunch of streamers or a bunch of like the highest ranked MOR people to compete in like China versus like EU, China versus NA, and then like the top players from those competed in like the world championships that happened this weekend with like $30,000 or $40,000 in prizes or something. And there was like a bunch of prizes for the smaller ones. And this weekend was the penultimate event, and no one's mentioned it at all in any of the social media, and feels like a major problem in the system. But that's for like the super high MMR people. But it's one of those things like Lobby Legends was nice, kind of like how, looking at like the standard world championship, it's good to be able to see this sort of stuff. Like it's good marketing, and it gives people like ideas on things that they can do and stuff. But they don't have that in Battlegrounds. They had Lobby Legends before, but now it's kind of all gone and there's nothing to do. And so even when other stuff does happen, it's not marketed at all. I apologize for turning this a bit political.
No, no. So,
that's fine.
what place did you get this weekend?
I didn't. I was not a participant. My MMR wasn't high enough. You had to be like the top 7 or something, 6 or 7 in on your server to participate. Chief ended up winning the tournament. So he posted a few videos about him winning it and some of like the practice events that they did. But yeah, it just happened yesterday or this morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. Because it's like I think everyone they flew the top 8 into China to do it as like a LAN or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nobody knows about it unless you're like participating. So which is kind of a shame because it's like a good marquee event to get posted. But yeah, it's sad. But the state of the game's actually good. There's lots of fun things you can do. Every tribe except for pirates by itself is pretty much playable right now, which is a good state for the game to be in.
I went with Pirates. I mean, granted, my MMR is like 4K, but I went with
Yeah.
Pirates.
Yeah, the problem with like pirates right now is because all the death rattle builds are like so strong that like there are builds that could just sit there and just like do nothing while you're trying to do while you play like 100 cards during your turn and you can't scale as much as them just sitting there.
Yeah. Yep.
It's very frustrating. So that's why you have to kind of play pirates with something else. Like pirates have a few cards that are really good, but then the rest are just trash. And it's kind of sad because there's so much fun to play pirates. Like you're playing, like you're like, I get to do a million things. It's so much fun. And you're like, oh, this guy just sitting there AFK, and I just can't keep up with him. And just like so sad.
Yeah, I think the other part of that pirate game was me having like an 800 2000 cleave on the other side
no,
of the
I'm
duelist
talking
boards.
No, I'm not talking duos. I'm talking just straight up BGs.
Oh, I know that you had a pirate game when we played the other day, and yeah, I moved a bunch of blood gems to Ultralisk, and things died. No one found Leroy.
And I see
Sorry.
they have the time warp winner removed from duos, and that's kind of funny because remember just the other day you were like, "Hey, what if I'm going second in a duos match? That seems really good." But do you play any duos, Terry?
I do not. Supposedly they fixed duos in this patch, and duos was supposedly broken for a very long time. I don't know if you guys experienced it.
It was very laggy and very buggy.
Oh no, it was worse than so it was actually broken. So on the turn 6 turn, if you gave your partner any gold, it would give them chromium for like or maybe it was like the turn before. I can't remember exactly what turn it was. So I think it was the turn 8 turn. If you played any like minions or things that gave your partner gold, it would give them chromium during the next time warp turn. So they would just be able to buy up the whole chromium shop. And yeah, it was very problematic. It was like that for like a month, and they didn't find a way to fix it until now. And supposedly everyone that was playing duos was complaining about it. That like it's just not fun because literally one person gets to like buy up the shop on your team during the time warp turns, and then if you just get better time warp cards, it swings the game massively in their advantage.
I don't think we ran into that, but that would make sense why they removed and banned the elemental that gives your teammate gold when you sell it.
Yeah,
it's probably that.
Yeah, that was definitely like if you saw at one point, probably like 2 weeks ago, they banned like they removed a bunch of cards from duos that gave your teammate gold. That was the main reason why, but like they didn't fix it for like 2 or 3 weeks prior to that, and like all my friends that were like duo mains were just like, this is unplayable. And it was also crashing a lot, but like also just the game itself was like unplayable with something like that. If you know about it and your opponents don't know about it, you're just like it's hard for you to lose.
Yeah, we definitely know about the
not
crashes.
knowing half.
Yeah. Yeah, the crashes are really bad too, from what I heard.
Yeah, there's often like a hold on, how much time do we have left? I'm getting back in. I'm getting back in.
Yeah. It gets funky like when your teammate exits the time warp tavern, it'll freeze up for you. So it's just funky.
Yeah. But some other probably news for you guys. There was supposedly some new hack that like auto skipped all your combats and animations that I heard about that was for duo people, top level duos players were all using, so they would not experience the disconnects and have way more time during each of the turns. I reported the hack to Blizzard, so hopefully they are investigating it and finding some way to solve it. But yeah, there was a program that you could patch over your game to like cut through all the animations, cut through, like how sometimes the game slows down when your stats on your minions on the board get big and it causes you to lag. That all that stuff
Yep.
was cut out.
Yep.
So it's just like you have this huge, massive advantage. You get to do 3 or 4 times the number of actions that someone else would be able to do just playing the game normally. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, so a lot of people also quit because of the high level duos. People were also doing that as well. So a lot of bad duo news at the top. Sorry to say to all the duos players out there in the world.
Where we're playing, I think we're fine.
Just
Yeah.
just be bad and you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
Great.
true.
We speaking of fixes, we did also get a hotfix patch later in the week, where Gaslight Gatekeeper and Spinley should now actually work with the new quest Battle at End Time. They said that they fixed it and then didn't actually fix it. They're like, yeah, we got these fixed, and it's just like, never mind, it doesn't work with this. Never mind, it still doesn't work with the other one either. Let's try again. So they got it to where I think the issue was it wouldn't pick up on the empty hand. So you would fill up your hand, play that card, and it should trigger the hand is empty, and it wasn't. So they got that fixed. Rogue Imbue is now correctly giving you the minis for miniaturize. And then they did remove, Tito already mentioned, they removed Time Warped Winner, the stealth. If this survived the combat, get a triple reward. That's removed from duos only. And then Hand of Dios is removed from BGs for both modes, which I believe was the start of combat, trigger, a battle cry, rally, and death rattle.
Oh no, that's back.
Is it back?
Yeah, at least for solos is back.
So
I'm pretty sure I saw it. Well, actually, maybe I'm thinking of it before the hotfix.
This was
Maybe.
from Friday.
Oh, okay, maybe I haven't played it all this weekend. So
Thursday. So Thursday was a server-side hotfix patch.
Okay,
They removed it.
I'm probably easily mistaken. I'm old and forgetful.
It's
so,
all good. So I don't know. It could have been added back in because I didn't check the known issues part.
Oh, okay.
But I don't remember seeing it this weekend. I remember using it early in the week.
Yeah, so, I'm probably just thinking about it because it came back for I guess a few days, and then I guess maybe it disappeared again.
Then couple other smaller bits of news. As we mentioned off the top of the show or earlier, we have the Blizzard showcases that are going on where they're doing all the major announcements for the games. Hearthstone's is on February 9th, which is next Monday. To where we should be getting a decent amount of news there, and that would also fall 1 month before the new expansion, so should be getting that announcement on the same day. And then open qualifiers are also going on for the Winter Championship. There's already the first weekend happened last weekend or 2 weekends ago, to where 4 qualified from each region, and the next one is this upcoming weekend. So if that is something you're interested in, signups are up. I don't know how many spots are left and how many they're taking for those, but signups are up. It's on Battlefy, and you can find the link. I found it on Hearthstone's Twitter account in one of the posts.
All right. I think that's the news. You ready to talk about our main topic here today?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, gonna talk obviously about Battlegrounds. So just couple more specific topics for now, and then kind of some big picture things more than what we've already discussed. So the big thing for this season, seasonal mechanic, was the Time Warped Tavern. Having the different shop on turn 6 and turn 9. That, at least for me, has feel like it's infused a ton of power into this season. Feels a lot more powerful than some of the seasons past, at least, even with other mechanics, and definitely more powerful than some of the vanilla seasons. But how do we feel about the mechanic, both power wise and is it fun to play with?
All right, I can go first.
Yeah.
I, I like the mechanic. It's very, very similar to trinkets, how trinkets were if you play them. It's good that they differentiate the 2 chromium versus 1 chromium minions or time warp cards because it allows you to have more options for as opposed to trinkets were. Very powerful mechanic, maybe a little too powerful in that they really shape how your game is going. Um, the power level on some of them are so much weaker than some of the others. If they balanced it a little better, it'd be good. It's definitely a lot of fun though. It's definitely good to be able to like sculpt your game toward a time warp turn, similar to how you kind of sculpted your game toward trinkets and other stuff in the past. So it's good that you kind of have a sense of direction early because you know what kind of time warp cards you want to get into, or and you have a sense of direction. That is very good. It's very quite. I find it quite fun to play. Um, yeah, but just needs to be balanced a little better. I mean, it's not easy. Like, there's a lot of different time warp cards. There's a lot of different, costs or tiers of time warp cards. It's not easy to have them all at a relatively playable level. There'll always be some that are good. There'll always be some that are bad. But yeah, I mean, the problem is when you get multiple that are bad, it just feels really bad. I wish there was like a way to scale it so that like you get like a, an averaged power level across like of it all. Like you get like a bad one on that comes with like a good one, or they have like a weighting system toward that. I don't think there truly is. I think it's only like the 2 chromium, 1 chromium, and random and RNG. But I think if find some way to do that, that would be great. But I mean, it's a good mechanic. I think it's fun and something a little different, which is always nice.
I like how they do the whole. This is something that Warcraft does a lot in an expansion, where it's like borrowed power, right? It's not something that they have to worry about balancing for the class or for the character for anything more than what they're doing for that expansion. And it's like you get like a weapon, and you upgrade the weapon, and you do these things, and you get the. So I kind of like this concept too. It's like, yeah, it feels much more powerful than normal battlegrounds, but it's also something that they're going to be able to pull away without really having to worry about what the remaining things are. There's nothing tied to it. Like, so I mean, I'm sure there's some minions that they have selected because, like, oh, if we have this minion and this time warp guy is going to be a lot of fun and whatnot. But it's been just fun. I like them outside of the crashes and the whatnot. I do know that I sculpt things poorly a lot of times because I'll be like, why am I being offered Murlocs? I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I have that guy. Oops. Okay. So you do have to kind of pay attention to that. And I'm a little less than that. But it's fun where you can kind of try to be greedy, try to like, especially with duos, because it's like pilot. I hear pilot sigh. He'll be like, all right, Tito, here comes your minion. Because the one whatever I'm working on or the hero I have, the time warp guy that he has would be better for me. And you kind of like that. You can kind of really kind of jam things on one direction or another with the duos. So that's been really, really good. I like it. How you thought about the time warped? Time warped.
That sigh is normally only when I really like something else that I want to get, but it is so much clearly more correct to send it to you and sacrifice basically my board for the next 2 turns, and hope that it works out. um, yeah, it's a really fun mechanic. I also enjoy trinkets, and I do kind of like this as it is different enough just because you get a couple more options. You really get to weigh the difference between do I get one thing that costs two or two things that cost one, and what the power level differences are between those. But it definitely does have that variety in power between well, both me and someone else are clearly built towards this. They got the time warp card that matched it, and I did not. I don't know how many times that, had something going for Beast to where, a Goldrin or something like that would have really kind of taken that to the next level. And I get offered Rally, get a random dragon. and it's just like, this does nothing for me right now. And then you gotta kind of figure out what to do with it, and then you end up so far behind on tempo. So those differences are definitely tough, and I feel like that power level is really hard. It's fun having that power level in the time warp cards, but it's really hard to overcome if you just get hard whiff on what works for you when someone hits the nuts, especially in duos. If both of them hit the nuts, then they just win the game on turn 6.
It's always fun when you that's one thing I love about Battlegrounds is, and I hate about Battlegrounds too. But it's like you're like, we have a great build. This is going great, and you're chewing through opponents, and then you like turn into the guy you're like, they're in last place. This is gonna be fine, and they have a board that's like 3 times the size of yours, and you're like, well, I guess we lose.
Yeah, that's definitely the case in this meta. You'll see boards on like turn 8 or 9 that are just so ridiculously strong. You're just like, how? It's like you have to like come up with like 10 different things that went right for them to get this exact board, and you're just like, oh, so frustrating. I definitely had many of those games. It's just like there's sometimes just nothing you can do. That's the way the meta is, and it makes this meta a little tougher. It feels like the power spikes are quite a bit stronger.
Yes.
Even without the time warps, the meta just seems like the spikes are super strong. Like the tempo spikes are super strong, as well as like the high roll long term spikes are super strong. And if you happen to face the wrong players at the wrong time, it's just easy to just like die on like turn 7 or turn 8. I actually died on turn 6 one game, which I think was like a personal best, which for me to have died that early in solos. But like it's definitely a very tough meta on trying to balancing greed or tempo a lot. Like I think it's good to greed pretty early, but then you have to understand like if you greed early, you can't greed your time warp cards. You don't have enough time to really let it happen. You have to just like take tempo cards, and then it kind of affects your long term game. But you're just hoping that like by greeding to be on like say tier 4 on the turn 6 turn when your first time warp comes, and you're at like 19 health, you can't take a card. That's obviously way better because you have to just play for tempo. And you have access to like such better cards than your opponents do because they're on the lower tiers, that you just have to understand like you can't be that greedy. And although it's fun to try to be greedy and take like the super high rolly card, you just gotta take a crappy time warp minion just because it's like a 5/7 body and gives you like a minion that will just help you like stabilize the board. And then you try to go for greed on or go for power level on the turn 9 time warp turn, and hope that works out well. Because then, if not, or if you just run into like the wrong opponent's thing, you just die. But you just gotta understand how to pace yourself in those turns. Because I've definitely had lots of games where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna play for tempo, and then oh crap, I'm dead on turn 8 because I ran into like the one guy that like high rolled, and I just like took 15 when I thought I was really strong and should be easily safe, and then just like, oh, there goes 105 and more.
Those games are so frustrating too, especially the ones where like you just lose a couple 50-50s. So you just keep taking chip damage in, combats where, normally it'd be a coin flip, or normally it's just like, oh, I probably would win 2 out of these 4, and you just lose a 50-50 4 in a row, and now suddenly you're at 10, and you just have no wiggle room left. It's that can definitely be frustrating. There's a couple early game like minions like that too.
Also, the times where you're at 19, they get like the 8%, so you're like all of a sudden down like at 11, and then you just get lethal the next turn, and you're just like, oh, the 2% the lethal is so real, but just like, 25 minutes of my life just gone, and just so frustrating.
I have a personal beef with the tier 1 rally quill board that plays a blood gem on itself.
Oh, really?
Because just like, did that one attack first? It soloed the board. Did I go first? It died. It died before it could attack. I hate that card just because of that. It's not an overpowered card. I just hate that card because of that.
It's actually a fairly well balanced card because it's not very good at later stages, but very good, especially if you go first in the early stages. But
it always goes first against me.
it's the trade-off in the game, right? Like long-term value versus short-term game and stuff. I think the game's in a good state though. Like the meta is actually pretty reasonable. Although I haven't been excelling at it. I know some people are frustrated with it, but like I think a lot of the top tier players all think the meta is pretty reasonable right now. Like nothing overtly too broken. Undead still pretty strong, but I mean that's the nature of undead. Like when they're strong, they'll always be like super powerfully strong just because of their death rattle mechanics of summoning more guys. If they can easily find ways to get a lot of attack on them, they'll be strong just because they can persevere through so much. But I mean, it is what it is. You know what? You just play the games, you have your fun, and then you hope it goes your way. Like at the end of the day, it's just a game. You can't let it get you too upset or too angry. Like don't take it too seriously. It's a game. I know a lot of streamers don't feel the same way as you see them raging on their streams about wins and losses, but I'm like the total opposite. I'm just like, I've been a victim to enough variance in other ways in my life that I don't really care if I get 2%ed and lethal. I'll be mad for like 30 seconds and then just on to the next game.
So you talked a little bit. I'm going to skip around here in our show notes, but just because it kind of came up, we talked a little bit about greed and tempo, and I feel like I am a very naturally greedy player, as Tito knows. Normally, it's I know this is surprising, but I'm going to level here, or I'm going to do this here. But it definitely feels like there's certain metas that favor greed, certain that favor tempo. There's a couple to where you can really find a balance to where you can win with either. But we definitely had a few to where it's just like, oh yeah, play this meta greedy because you got to get to the tier 5s, or play for tempo. Tier 3, tier 4 are fine. You're not going to power spike that hard. How do you kind of figure that out other than losing a lot by making the wrong choice? That's what I do.
In general, you have to mainly look at how strong the tier 2s and 3 minions are. Most of the time, especially the way the game has been changing, where it's less about economy in the lower tiers, you kind of want to get to 4 pretty fast. Like especially this meta, not very much economy on tier 2. Like there's only a little bit. So you're going to want to go to tier 3 or probably on turn 3 or 4. The minions on tier 3 are so much stronger than the minions on tier 2. It's like not even remotely close. So like you'll take some damage, but you gotta go. And if you run into people that are playing tempo, you just lose those fights. You understand that's kind of how it is. It's also why heroes right now with higher armor are a little better, or heroes that kind of innately give you tempo or economy to allow you to push the levels a little harder. But this definitely seems to be a bit more of a greedy meta right now. Usually the game starts really when you're on tier 4. It's very rarely decided on tier 1, 2, 3. Very, very rare. There's very few minions that have ever been on 3 or below that can kind of set your direction. And usually when there's minions on tier 3 or below that set your direction are metas that are absolutely atrocious. Like I can't there was a few metas where when back in the day, like way back in the day, when Leaper was first around, it could kind of set your direction. There was I can't remember the name of it. It was a demon minion that was like Avenge 3 get a demon, I think is what it was. I can't remember what the name of it was. It originally started on tier 3, and then it was just like you would just have so much extra economy on everyone if you happen to get it first, and then you would just have all this extra gold and you could just like run away with lobbies. Stuff like that is what breaks metas and makes it so you kind of want to just kind of get to 3 and stay down just because you're just like, I'm so much richer than everyone. I can just level and just like have like so many more resources available to me. Stuff like that is when it's really bad. Um, Now this meta, at least at the beginning of the meta, was all about Titus. Like a few patches ago, this is the first time I think in Battlegrounds history that Titus was actually a better card than Bran, because Bran was like an economy producing machine. Like it could give you extra stats, it could give you extra money from like minions that give you minions that give you coins or whatever. And it actually changed how the game was, because previous to this major meta change, it was all about like things that give you good economy to allow you to try to do more broken things during your turn. And this is the first time that this has become a Titus meta, where it's all about getting Titus, and the Titus will let you do the broken things. And it's a very big change in the way the game is played. Um, because even if you had all the economy in the world, you weren't able to keep up with the things like we were talking earlier about why pirates are so bad. Pirates can run through 50 gold a turn. We don't have a good way to scale out from a, a tribe that's not pirates. You can't keep up with people that are doing things but Titus, or even just scaling like with Nagas and stuff. They just produce so much more stats without having to do all the advanced things. Yeah, so this meta has definitely been a little different, because it's not just about going infinite and doing all sorts of broken things. You just can't do enough to keep up with people. So this meta is definitely more greed, but you kind of have to definitely keep your life total, be more aware of your life total, because there always will be someone that's high rolling. So you kind of have to stay above that cap. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been it's always funny too, because like I like playing greedy when you can, because a lot of times you're just trying to get to that one piece and then have that pop off turn, and you're like I'm at 3 health, so either I lose and I'm it didn't matter, or I scale out of nowhere, and it's just uh I don't know, it's fun. And it's also good with duos is that there's like strategy there too, as far as greed, and if one of you are going greed, if the other one can build a board and try to get you through the early games by being taking high cost minions and just kind or high health and damage minions, and just building the biggest board you can, while the other one pilot levels and levels and levels and then gets to the pieces they need to, then that's fun too. So I don't know, I like how it is right now, because it does feel like you get payoff for greed, but you also it feels balanced. It feels like you whatever kind of player you are, you're going to have success if you execute well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely, if you're trying to go greedy, then you definitely have to find a couple things here and there to balance it out to where, you know, you can't take if you're doing that, you need to take just the biggest statted thing or the biggest tempo minion that you can to, alleviate some, health loss. Or like Terry said, if you're going greedy, then on that first time warp turn, you have to take the best immediate tempo card to make up for it. And you might have to pass up on something that's better long term, but it lets you get ahead, the other way. I'd forgotten about that Avenge demon they talked about. Impatient Doomsayer. I looked it up.
Yes, that guy was
Yes, that
ridiculous.
was nuts.
Yeah.
Wasn't Nest Matron tier 3 when Avenge
No,
first
Nest
came out
Matron, I
also?
think was always on tier 4. It was also nuts.
Was it? Okay.
But it came out at the same time as Leapers. Leapers came out on tier 2. Doomsayer came out on tier 3, and Nest Matron was on tier 4. And like those cards just like Leaper wasn't honestly that good. I know there's some people that absolutely love Leaper, but compared to the other two cards, it got blown away by like the power level. And you just like have like so much economy, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, that card was insane. And when they produce cards like that, it just makes like the game unfun. It was just like a race.
I like how they've moved Avenge away from that and more into multiple different effects.
Yeah,
as it's been around.
Yeah, I mean, Nest Matron is still a good card. Like if they
Oh, yeah.
brought Doomsayer back, it'd still be a good card. Just because cards that give you economy will always be good, but like they're not as backbreaking now in the way the metas have been as they were then when their economy was much more of a premium than it is, and now for the higher tier stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of like greed and tempo, are there any seasonal mechanics that we've had that you think have really swung that one way or the other? Like we've had quests, trinkets, buddies, all these different things. Is there one that really swung it more than you expected?
Oh, the worst mechanic for that was Dark Moon prizes. I don't know if you guys
Mm.
were playing back then. The way they initially set up Dark Moon prizes was that if you were more toward the bottom half of the lobby or like the bottom three or something, you would get better Dark Moon prizes than the people that were
Mhm.
at the top. And the better Dark Moon prizes, especially for the second prize turn, were so much better than
Yes.
the Dark Moon prizes. Like it was like you could level for free or get like a minion of like a tier above or whatever because they changed the level cost one. But it was just like so much better. That I was like totally incentivized to be in like the bottom three or bottom four mid players. That like if you weren't greeting, you were just like not playing the same game because you were like, la di da, I'm doing well. Look, I'm at 33. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, this guy has 3 tier 6s on turn 8, and just like I'm on tier 4 trying to do things, and just like, oh my god, it was over. But yeah, Dark Moon Prizes was by far the worst one. I don't think anything comes close to how those were. All the ones later have been much better. Um at least much better balanced. So hopefully those Dark Moon Prize never come back because
But
those are the
but to be
worst.
fair, when they did the Dark Moon Prize, that was the first time they added something different, right? That was the first time, wasn't it? Or was it Buddies first? I thought Dark Moon
Buddies, I
Prizes
think
was the
buddies were.
first.
I'm not
I
sure, but
thought that Dark Moon was first.
Yeah, I think so
could
That
be
would
too.
have
wrong.
been
Because
it was with Dark Moon, the Dark Moon Fair expansion.
yeah,
It was really early.
Yeah, I'm. Either way, it was bad. I mean, if they didn't have the mechanic where the bottom half would get better prizes than the top half, it was just totally random. That would have been fine. But they introduced that, and once people figured it out, I mean, it was awful. It's like a race to try to lose fights, so like, you get into the bottom half.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that was what was the worst. I mean, the stuff after that has been much better, and I pray Dark Moon Price never return. But I think like all the other stuff has been relatively well balanced. Um, I think like trinkets and stuff, and not quests, anomalies, not anomalies, trinkets. Yeah, maybe it's just trinkets.
Trinkets, buddies,
Yeah,
anomalies.
anomalies were
quests.
terrible too, but that's a whole nother story. I think trinkets were definitely interesting. I don't remember having to be as greedy in them because you could greed a lot during the trinket turns. But sorry,
I loved anomalies. I liked anomalies. I liked all kind like. I don't know. I just thought they were. I mean, the one thing I didn't like about them was that they didn't feel like they were spread out enough. Like you always kind of got like sometimes the same one like every 3 games or 4 games. So I liked it better when it was like, who knows? Because it started your planning right from the beginning to be something different because you had this thing that you had to work around. I don't know. I enjoyed them. I also enjoyed them in standard though, and everyone hated them in standard. So
my personal opinion on anomalies were the concept is great. The execution for some of them were really, really bad. If they just lopped off like the bottom 25% of anomalies, it would have been fine. Like some of them were just like so unfun. Like
Yes.
you automatically level every 2 turns. You can't level. Like this is like the most unfun anomaly I can imagine. And the one where like when you died, you got like 11 extra gold. And you didn't actually die, and the games are like 18 turns long to win or 20 turns long. You're just like, oh my god, I'm going to be here forever playing this one particular game. It's just like those ones were just the least amount of fun you could possibly have. And just like it really sours the average player experience. I think when you have ones like that are just so bad that just makes people want to quit the game.
That's pretty funny though. The guy that has 60,000 hours of
Yeah.
Battlegrounds is like, oh, this game is taking too long.
Yeah, but you have to understand, I'm a degenerate that like I'll keep playing the game. Doesn't mean I necessarily have fun, or like I'm just in the middle of streaming it. It's just like it's ridiculous. Just some of the games are just like unfun, and that's not why we're here. We're here to play video games, right? We're grown men playing video games.
Now, how have you felt about when they like usually next week when we have the announcement, they'll probably re-add some other mechanic like they have been. They've added like buddies and trinkets or this. How have you liked it when you've had that kind of complexity of two different mechanics at once?
I love whenever they make a change in the game. Okay, in general, let me specify. In general, I love changes in the game. I think they could come up with a lot of interesting stuff, and I don't mind them having two mechanics at a time. Never been an issue with me. I will just keep playing and playing and playing because I'm an addict. But as long as the mechanics in general are fun, like that was the main problem with anomalies. It had some anomalies that were just not fun, and I've played through countless hours of all the different ones, and I think they've all been great. I've enjoyed myself through it all. Like the games are still different enough that I don't mind sitting in front of it and playing it for 6, 8, 10 hours a day. Unlike standard where you just do the same thing over and over again. I gotta get my shots in while I can. But yeah, that's the only reason I've been able to play this many hours in the game is because each game feels different. Like I come from like a Magic background, like play competitive Magic like for many, many years. I played many, many, many hours of constructed versus constructed decks playtesting. And let me tell you, I got bored as shit of playing constructed after about 3 to 4 years of putting in, thousands of hours playing constructed against each other because it's just so repetitive. You kind of lose, for at least for me personally, you lose the desire of wanting to keep doing that, especially when you're just doing it for fun and not trying to make money.
There we go. Yeah. I missed the button. I just went to unmute and the whiffed. Shows why I'm so bad at shooters. So kind of pulling back a little bit more big picture. You kind of talked that you think the state of BG's the game itself is in a really good spot. Outside would like to have more. And I definitely agree with that. I wish that some sort of Lobby Legends like thing was there, and maybe since we've kind of seen another push again for constructed, that maybe that gets a push again eventually. Hopefully we can cross our fingers. But if you were put in charge of BGs for a week, what kind of things would you do or want to change or want to see done?
You mean like state of the game or more organized play?
Whichever, both.
I think organized play could be a lot better. It doesn't necessarily have to be big, massive things like Lobby Legends. Although having an end of something for the top leaderboard players is always good for the game. I mean, if you want to do organized play for something like Battlegrounds, you have to start at the bottom. You need something a little more grassroots. You need like I said, I'm from a Magic background. So the grassroots for Magic have always been like the Friday Night Magics, the local tournaments, those sort of things. You need to find a way to like fund those with something interesting. It could just be like skins or rune stones or something at low level, get people playing, competing, and then you kind of progress them up the ladder into like qualifiers and then into like the Lobby Legends of the world. Like you have to give people incentive for a reason to be good other than I just want to be good. Like you kind of need to like have them have steps to go along the way, right? Like once if there's no Lobby Legends, like say like 3 or 4 years ago, Like I don't think Jeef and Beater would be even in this game, right? Like they came in, like I remember them coming into like Blurby's stream back then. They were just viewers. They would play sometimes. There was always like Blurby had a series of tournaments with like 5, 10K in prizes. Then then Lobby Legends. Then they're like, okay, we're getting the game. There's some money here. It'll keep our interest for a while to get better, for to have a desire to get better. And then afterwards, they kind of progressed. The Lobby Legends are here now. Now we have somewhere else to go, and kind of just moved up. And then there's a drop off, and you don't really see a bunch of new people all of a sudden pushing up to the top of the leaderboards that have never been around anymore. I mean, that have never been around before, because there's no path for them to go along, for them to like build up from like the bottom up, so to speak. It's all like the same sort of names. I know in China, I think they do because they've been running a bunch of events, but you don't really see much in the way in the way of North America. You just be seeing former players that either come back into the game, or a bunch of people that kind of fell off, and then because others have left, you see them kind of improving. Like there's no progression path in organized play, and that's kind of what you need. I mean, I think they have that in standard, but I don't know. I don't think they have anything like that in Battlegrounds.
Well, maybe that's one of the things that they're going to announce on February 9th. Who knows? Maybe they're going to bring the back Lobby Legends, and we'll be excited.
Hopefully. I mean, I definitely talked to Alkali about all that and Hat in the past, and they're just like, if I remember correctly, their response was like, I can't imagine it happening or something along those lines. But who knows? Maybe things have changed. I also don't think Battlegrounds makes them enough money for them to really put a ton of money into it. Like they don't produce as much revenue as standard does. But who knows?
Well, that's because you have one-time purchases of like portraits, which has been great, but it's not like you're not like you have to buy in the cards every whatever. So
Yeah.
So one of the things I know that we hear sometimes from people is that Battlegrounds used to be kind of like a, hey, anyone can jump in and play because it was very simple and you don't need cards and all that. But now with all the things we're talking about, like Time Warped and buddies and whatnot, people are a little more intimidated to jump into Battlegrounds because they feel it's more complex and they don't know what they play a game and like, I have no idea what's going on. What advice do you have for new Battlegrounds players or people that haven't played Battlegrounds for a few years and they want to maybe jump back in?
All right. So one of the things that I actually really enjoy about Battlegrounds, it is very watchable, at least on the Twitch side, because they have a bunch of stuff that can actually show you exactly what the cards are. You try going to like a TFT stream and with no idea how to play, you have no chance of learning how to play the game. Because at least you could in Battlegrounds, you could see what's going on. You can mouse over the cards. It shows exactly what the card does, and you kind of see how people are progressing the game and are doing things, right? Like you go to a lot of other card games, they have no overlays, they have nothing that can present you this information. I think the best thing would be just if you want to quickly kind of just learn how a new mechanic works, is to just kind of go into a stream. You can sit down, you can watch it for a few hours, you can see what the new mechanics are. You can look up, mouse over, you can read all the cards as they're being played and all that stuff. All the information is kind of there in a much more digestible format as opposed to just looking at the the release, the patch notes or whatever, and seeing all the cards, and not they don't always have the names and images beside them, right? Like it's very, very easy to kind of just learn and from watching it. I think so. If you're new to the game, I would say, and like you understand like the basic mechanics of like how buying and selling works and all stuff. I would say just watch a stream for an hour or two, and it has to be on Twitch because that's where all the overlays are. Like you can't just watch a YouTube video and do the same thing because it's hard to see what all the cards are when someone's like, if you watch Jeef play a game and he just like you see him buying and selling a million cards a turn, you can't read what he's doing, right? But if you watch a Jeef stream, you can kind of like look over the cards, see what's going on, and kind of like get an idea of what's going on as opposed to just watching videos or just jamming games or anything else. I think that would probably be the best idea.
One of my favorite things that Asia's Replay has added is in the top right when you're picking your heroes, or even after you pick your heroes, there's a little Jeef guide that Jeef has contributed to. That's like when you're playing this hero, you want to try to level quickly, or you want economy minions or whatever. So that's been a lot of fun and helpful with, especially with something. I'm like, I don't know how to play this hero. It's like, oh, okay, here's a guide. Great.
Is
right
that
in the game.
behind the paywall? I'm not sure.
It probably is. I wouldn't be surprised.
Most likely. I can't remember either,
I can't
but
remember
that is
either.
nice.
It is. I agree. It is nice, and they have like all the builds and all that stuff available for you.
Yep.
But it's also like hard to do that without knowing the steps along the way.
Yeah.
Of that you would get from watching an actual stream and be able to read all the cards along the way, especially if you haven't played the mechanic or the game in general for a few months. The cards have all changed and stuff. I think just watching is honestly how I think if I was to learn a new game, that would be. If I was new to the game, that's how I'd want to learn.
Terry, do you have any particular streamers you'd like to suggest?
Oh, myself. Terry Tsang Terry Tsang on Twitch. I'm actually going to be on the front page of Twitch in 2 days. So I'll be featured on the front page. You want to come between 4 p.m. and 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Tuesday the 3rd. That's where I'll be featured on the front page. But
I'm washing my hair. Sorry, I won't be there.
It's a long time. I mean, not much hair to wash. Maybe if you said you were watching your chest hair, that might have been more believable. But I like. There's a lot of good streamers. Like Be Nice, if you're for European time zones. Be Nice 92 is a very good educational streamer. Very cordial with chat. Doesn't mold a lot. Happy to answer questions. Seville07, another high level player that also watches his chat pretty closely. Will help explain things if you have questions. Odd Dragon is also very good for NA time zones. I'm trying to think of who else I could recommend. There's definitely a lot of friendly streamers that are out there. There's quite a few that mold a lot and aren't as friendly, but I think there's quite a few that are actually pretty helpful and calm.
My favorite outside of Terry would be I'm a big fan of Maritime Max, who's a small streamer but really good at explaining things, and Happa Bear. I love Happa Bear. She's great to watch.
Happa Bear sometimes gets trolled too much by chat. She gets angry, but I think that's just because of chat. I mean, you don't want to go into like. Sorry,
I was saying she's really good at keeping up on chat though, so she will answer questions and
she is. I mean, sometimes you end up in like Super JJ or RDU stream or something, then like they'll just start molding and you just be like, it would scare. I think it easily scare a new player away from potentially asking any questions because some of them can be very intimidating and just see them like outburst. You're just like, oh god, is this really the kind of game I want to spend a lot of hours playing that makes you this angry?
Yeah. I definitely also think because I have a friend who I talked into getting back into Hearthstone and he jumped back in with Battlegrounds first. And I think especially if you're just starting, like just go for stuff. And forcing a tribe early normally isn't the play, but you can definitely just say like, you know what, I'm just going to figure out what mechs can do right now and just grab the mechs that look good and learn what they are. Because if you're in the first, couple 100 hours of playing, it doesn't really matter that much because most of those people also if you're MMRs at that point, you can just kind of figure stuff out as you go. But yeah, watching streamers that's how I got into Hearthstone. I had a Overwatch streamer, Fitzy here, who also did Battlegrounds that led me. He was on the same team was it F2L? F2K, whatever it was. F2K with Slissa.
Yeah.
Which led me to her, led me to Dexter, and that's how I got into Hearthstone. And that watching Slissa mainly early on probably influenced why I play so greedy. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, most streamers tend to play pretty greedy. Like it's very rare you find someone that plays very conservative, especially at the higher MMRs. It's hard to keep your MMR high when you're unable to get to the cards you need fast.
So, any final thoughts?
I'm good. Do you have any final questions for me?
I think I guessed all the ones that I had, Tito.
I think I'm good.
So yeah, I mean, that kind of final shout out for me because for us normally standard constructed players, we're hitting that lull. Granted, we talked about we probably have a big balance patch coming up, but normally the last month before rotation is when everyone kind of checks out and takes their diet from Hearthstone. Check out Battlegrounds. There's a lot of fun stuff. I'm so happy to have multiple modes in the client that keep me in the game, and Battlegrounds is a lot of fun right now. Whether you're good or not, it's a lot of fun.
And it's a nice palate cleanser depending on how much time you have.
Yes.
Like I said, most of the time at the end of stream, Pilot joins me and we do a game of duos or two, and it's kind of like just a nice. Whether you had a really good run or you're kind of tilted from whatever happened in standard, you switch to Battlegrounds and just kind of you're still in Hearthstone, but it's still kind of just it shifts your mindset and can if you need a break, play it or just try it. It's fun.
There's no Ziliacs and BGs.
Pretty soon there won't be Ziliacs in standard.
Is Ziliacs really broken in the standard right now?
No, it's just time to rotate.
Okay.
It's a utility card. Like it's made as a utility card to where you pick two options to piece together, and because of that, it's just been played constantly for 2 years now.
And it gives every class healing and defense and a swing back turn that they shouldn't have in every single class. So if you haven't completed what you wanted to do by turn 9, you can almost guarantee that Ziliax is coming down to ruin whatever progress you made. So
I think I saw Tito tweeted how much he loved the card and wanted it to go to the core set.
Yeah, I saw that tweet as well.
Yeah, no, I love the design. I love the concept. I love how unique it is. It was a fun card, but goodbye, see ya. Like it was nice having you here, but it's time to go. Speaking of time to go, if you'd like to support our show, you can do so by joining our Patreon over at patreon.com/breadandbutterhs. You get access to our raw oil early. You have access to our members channel on Discord. You can help shape future questions. If you'd like to help us in a non-financial way, you can let people know about the show and let us know how we're doing, and you can leave a review. It really helps. You can also look for Bread and Butter HS on YouTube. We post shorts and we post the VOD. So if you'd rather, instead of just listening to Terry's sweet voice, you want to see his pretty face, you can do so. Terry, where can people find you? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we get to that, question of the week. What's your favorite and least favorite Battlegrounds heroes? Of all time. Doesn't have to be right now. Of all time.
Probably favorite of all time would be Jandis. I have a ton of fun playing her in different metas, most because there were tokens around and be able to get early triples and kind of break the game was a lot of fun. Least favorite hero? Oh my god. There's been some really bad heroes through the years. I mean, I could probably hold on, let me try to recall some of like the horrendous heroes.
Well, it doesn't have to be a bad hero. It's just your least favorite, like the one you hate the most. Because it can be really good, and that's the problem.
No, I don't have heroes that are really good. That's the problem. I just loved heroes that were really, really. I hate heroes that are really, really bad. I mean, I'll go like way back, probably before even any of you guys remembered, like OG Ragnaros, where it was like pay 2 gold or 3 gold. It was pay 3 gold, do 8 damage to a random minion at the start of the turn. Was really bad. Like, imagine paying the equivalent of a full minion to try to do 8 damage to a random minion at the start of their turn. There are so many bad minion like heroes like that. The original heroes were so bad. There's so many bad ones. So that one has to be one of my worst because it was literally completely unplayable from like the get-go. It was just like, how do they come up with this concept of this? That probably has to be one of my least favorite heroes.
Pilot, what one's your favorite?
Gosh, it's got to be Eudora. Eudora is the one that I always come back to.
I like Eudora just because I really like the portrait of like the snow portrait of her. That's one of my favorite arts that they have in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. But I think my favorite hero is the nameless one because I just like saying, All right, Pallet, my fate is in your hands. Go.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the nameless
As
one
I have
copies your
4
opponent hero.
terrible heroes. Just instant locks. Nameless one. Good luck.
Oh, actually, one thing. I don't know if we've had you on. I think we had you on when this was announced, but the tokens, the reroll tokens, I think are fantastic. Love having them. It's always great to be like, I don't like any of these, or I think I have this one. You just reroll and all that. And everyone was all up in arms, like, oh, we're cheating now in Hearthstone, and we're paying to win, and all that. Where do you think tokens have ended up?
I mean, I think tokens are fine. Like, there's a few people in my stream that consider the reroll tokens to be pay to win, but there's so many heroes that are in the pool right now that the the percentage, like your average placement gain, is probably like in like the hundredths of a spot, like maybe like 200ths of a placement for like if you use the reroll token, and it's like so inconsequential. It's so minute, like be able to reroll a bad hero into one that is like exemplary. That thing is going to end up with like an average hero most of the time. Like, yeah, I debated with someone in my chat for many weeks, and they're just like, it's pay to win. It's such a big difference. I'm like, there's like 90 heroes they could roll. Like, there's only like 10 that are any good. What are the odds you're actually going to roll one that's good from out of the 90 is pretty like 11%, and then you have to have like a bigger chance of actually doing well with it and stuff. I'm like, it's just tiny. You're out of your mind.
See, at our level, I don't think it's about getting the good heroes. It's about like, I don't want to play these. I don't want to play Pyramid. I don't want to play Tess or whatever. And then you're like, oh, I want to play Sire, or I want to play
Yeah.
this. Great. It's just kind of like a nice. Oh, this is one, because Battlegrounds is what, like a 30-minute to 40-minute investment. It does take time, so I'd rather play something that I want to play, and I think it's been a great addition.
Yeah, I think it's a great addition. I mean, I have no issues with it. I bought reroll tokens before, so I don't think it's an issue. I think it's very minor. Like, from going from a bad hero to one that you actually want to play is worth it, and it doesn't actually have that much of an effect on your bottom line. So I have a question for you that's totally about standard. Do you think standard would be better with a 1 year rotation as opposed to 2? Because I think that's what you guys were just talking about, right? Like, if it just rotated, the sets rotated faster.
I am always wanting to. I would love to have a snake rotation where if you always have a 6-set meta, and the last expansion in that tail exits, and the newest one takes its place. So that way, it's always like something fresh and whatnot. What do you think, Pilot?
I think I'm fine with it how it is, especially because there have been years where they kind of do build something across a yearly thing. Like, I'm thinking like the Mercenary year, where we had the little version, then the quest line, and then the hero card. That kind of breaks up stuff like that. If they decide to do it again, it breaks up those year-long stories then. But
Yeah,
that's
fair.
totally more of a world building reason than a card reason and a meta reason. But I'm fine with it, because I also normally I do like the change from a 6-set to a 4-set.
Oh, fair.
All right. Well, Terry, where can people find you on the social medias?
Okay, Terry T Gaming on X ? Boomer
We call
Grounds
it Twitter.
on Twitter. Okay, so my podcast is called Boomer Grounds, like similar to Battlegrounds, but for old people. You can find that on wherever you like to listen to podcasts, and that's where you find me more on social media, on TikTok and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. So just look for Boomer Grounds, and you'll find a link to me in that link tree. And on Twitch, Terry Tsang on Twitch, just one word with my name down there somewhere. Is where you can find me on Twitch.
And Pilot, where can people find you?
You can find me Pilot712, that's PYLET, on Twitter and Blue Sky.
And at the bowling alley. And you can find me at Tito Santana HS on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok and wherever else, and especially on YouTube where we're trying to make a lot of videos. So if you like the weird decks that I seem to become obsessed with, I usually tend to post things about them on the YouTube. So go there for more. And Terry, you have anything you'd like to promote or shout out this week?
Obviously, just want to promote the Battlegrounds podcast. It's actually my current passion project. It is a lot of fun. It's for gamers, different types of gamers too, like just old people talking about gaming in general, and just a lot of fun. Just a lot of us shooting the shit. Battlegrounds podcast. Yeah, that's mainly the thing I want to promote.
I wouldn't say old people, especially
We're old,
but
especially in gaming. Come on, there's no chance no one considers us old. Like I talked to my nephew about this, and I was asking him what he would consider a boomer or whatever, and he was talking because he's trying to play competitive Valorant, I think, and he's like, "Yeah, you're 21, you're like old as dust." I'm like, "God damn." Right? There's no chance we would be considered anything but old, especially in the gaming community. Like in real life, maybe we're not considered that old anymore, but gaming, we are ancient dinosaurs.
all right.
Dinosaurs.
And I meant to ask you this earlier. What's going on with the HSBG club?
Not much. It was extremely unprofitable for me. I put many, I guess, thousands of dollars into it to try to create like a lower level like entry point for tournaments, and it kind of just I stopped for a vacation one time, and I'm just like, why am I still doing this? It created a nice community. We have a stream team from it on Twitch. Met a lot of nice people, but I'm currently not hosting any sort of events on there right now.
All right, that's fair. Pilot, you think anything you'd like to promote or shout out this week?
Couple shout outs. One is to Dr. Pooh, who hit legend for the first time. Pooh as in the Winnie the Pooh. So, but hit legend for the first time. I think that I've actually played them in the Coin Concede listener series. So congrats to them. So they've been playing for 10 years and hit legend for the first time. It entered around like 10K, which is better than I had to hit legend that first month. And then also, if you are a artwork person in card games, the new Lorcana set has fully been announced, and the Enchanted, which is like their version of signature cards, they're all in like a cut paper art style, and they're awesome. They're so good. Really, really awesome. Love the art direction that they have in that game. Definitely recommend checking those out.
And I'm going to shout out Joltik, who I mentioned I played this week, and he figured out a way to play against me during vacation, which is not easy to do, but we got there. Also, as of right now, we have as many episodes as the Golden Wisp did when that was still a Hearthstone podcast. So I feel like we're starting to overtake some of the older podcasts, which is kind of cool. And just a programming note that next week we will be recording on Monday rather than Sunday because one, Super Bowl, and we got to watch the Seahawks lose, and two, we have an announcement of news for Hearthstone, so it would make no sense to have an episode and then get all the news the next day. So we're going to be agile and do it there. But anyway, guys, I think we're toast. We'll see you.
Bye.
See ya.
Terry, your mic comes in real hot. Like anything you do is like bang, boom, boom.
Oh, sorry.
Like you can even hear. Oh, no. Like I'm surprised. I'm surprised because you edit your podcast.
Yeah, I don't have any filter set on this thing because it doesn't go through my OBS. So
all
right, so you get my raw, unfiltered voice.
Yep.
I don't have any of that. Sorry, I didn't set up any of the. If I knew you needed it, I should have thought about that more. Like on our podcast, I don't have to worry about it either because when it goes to the software, it's actually not too bad going into the thing. But like, yeah, I don't have anything going through here. Sorry.
No worries. I just wanted to let you know because if I was like, how do you deal with that when you do your podcast? But yeah, if you do it through OBS, that makes sense.
I mean, was it like peaking a lot for you?
At times,
really?
It was less peaking. It was less peaking and more just like lots of like. I don't know if you can hear that, but like
I can't hear that. So
yeah, yours is getting filtered out.
Oh, sweet. So yeah, no. Like you know when like you hear like typing or like I could hear you open your soda.
Oh yeah, I don't know how to adjust mic sensitivity on.
Oh, you're
this
fine. You're
thing.
fine. Just that was that, and that's something that happens with our guests. I just wanted to let you
That's-
know because I know you do your.
That's what we call Tito's problem now.
Yes, that's Tito's problem.
Yeah, like I
Nice.
don't seem to have that problem when I record, even though the audio is raw. It's like raw like this through our version of Riverside. It doesn't come up like that on the podcast for us, so maybe it just doesn't pick it up. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then you probably have gating or stuff on OBS. Does a lot of that stuff automatically and stuff. So
Yeah, but when I download our podcast and stuff, it's just the raw version from the site as opposed to through the OBS sound. So I don't know.
oh, got it.
So I don't know why I don't pick it up. Maybe I've listened to my podcast before. I don't hear it either. But I've noticed the mic flashing more when I get close to the mic here. Like even when I just twist my bottle and stuff, I'm sure you can hear it. Because I noticed
Oh, yeah,
my mic actually flashing on here. So maybe it just takes off like the full amount of sounds from me without any sort of sensitivity checks or anything.
Probably.
Yeah. Damn Riverside trying to be too special and being too sensitive. Stop being so sensitive, goddammit. It's all Riverside's fault. See, now I found a problem for you.
That's okay. Well, Terry, thanks for coming on.
No problem, buddy. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You as well.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, pilot, we can do our normal thing.
Yeah, I could play 1 or 2, and then I need to get some sleep.
Agreed. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we will catch you